death. I am Darkseid.
Okay guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be going over the Sideshow Collectibles Darkseid premium format figure. Definitely a cool piece, and we're going to go over all the pluses and the negatives, especially since there's the new Sideshow Darkseid piece that's going to be coming out. Figured it was a perfect time to do a review of this guy before the new one comes out. Okay, so a little backstory here. If you guys aren't familiar, Darkseid is primarily a Superman villain. He is one of the new gods, which is essentially kind of an alien race, and he lives on and operates from a planet called Apocalypse. His number one goal is to get his hands on the anti-life equation, which he believes will allow him to essentially rewrite reality to worship him, and he can shape it in any way he wants. Okay, so let's start with concept. Does this bring the concept from either the comics or movie? And I would say absolutely 100% it brings the concept strong from the comics. This speaks very clearly to the version of his original creation from Kirby, who was Darkseid's creator. It has a lot of really great aspects that pull out of the comics for what we're seeing here. I'm gonna go with, it's listed as a quarter scale because it's a premium format, but I believe it's way under scale. It's a pretty common comment on it that he's essentially the same size as most quarter scale statues, but the character itself is quite a bit larger, depending on the writer and the storyline. No matter what, though, he's a big guy, so he shouldn't really match up with the other ones, but it is what it is. They were probably going for a particular range, especially being a premium format for displayability. But, you know, other versions of Darkseid have made him a bit more accurate in quarter scale, which are, you know, quite a bit larger for the other versions. So he's definitely, I believe, the smaller in the quarter scale range. He's still a great piece, and I'm glad to have him. I originally wasn't really what I would call a big enough Darkseid fan to ever get a statue of him, but I was purchasing in a group of statues from a guy, and it was just an amazing deal that I couldn't pass up on. And actually, once I opened it up and got it out, the statue blew me away. It made me appreciate Kirby's work a lot more than just kind of like the goofy old style that some people can view it as. So concept, it speaks to who he is, his I kind of to his power level. It's hard without the Omega Vision eyes there, but it speaks to his Planet Apocalypse. I feel that this brings a lot of the character out, so that's a big plus for sure, and a lot of people enjoy this statue for sure. Let's go with dimensions real quick here. So for height, it is right at about 26 inches to the top of his head. The base width is right at about 13.5 inches, with depth, really the hand is going to be the most stuck out place. I think that's right at about 16.5 inches. Its base for me has been the most cumbersome place to display in that tighter area for like IKEA furniture. I'm no longer using IKEA stuff for where he's at, so he fits a lot easier. But okay, engineering wise, it's a solid piece when it comes to the base, and the main bodies hold. The magnets for the head are plenty strong, really good. The splash up of lava I think looks great. I think it looks way better when you put a light behind it. I don't know that it would have really justified having a light built in, but if they wanted to have taken this to the next level, having some clear resin elements that you could have had a light inside and glowing out like a lava-y glow, that would have taken this to the next level. And of course, eye lights up, you know, with Darkseid is cool. But so everywhere has been great except for the magnets on these hands. They are the worst hand magnets I have ever seen on any piece ever. I can't tell you how many times that it has just fallen when no one's even around, which may have been people walking by or low-level earthquakes for all I know, but either way, that has been the most annoying feature of this statue, is that this will fall. Luckily, it hasn't really done much paint damage at all, but it can be frustrating when you hear a big bang. This version is the EX. It comes with a secondary portrait. I believe that this one was the regular edition, which is a calm face. I'll show that later in the close-up. And this one's is angry face kind of a thing. Both are pretty cool. I think that the angry one, to me, is my favorite because Darkseid is a cool, collected strategist who can back it up with power. But when it comes down to it, he's coolest, I think, when he's losing control, because either Superman or some mortal like Batman is really pushing him past, and he's a god. So I think that that's really cool. So I'm always going to display with the angry face, although there's a chance that I may sell this piece down the line because of its scaling, and that way I could get something that was a true appropriate scaling for, like in Justice League War. I think he would have been twice as high as this. So yeah, maybe someday, we'll see, who knows. So yeah, engineering is great other than the hands. Let's go on to Sculpt. Base is cool. They took the idea of like a standard museum base, but then made the outer rim into kind of a industrial mechanical, with lines that are very similar to the apocalyptian kind of a design aspect. The sculpt on the rock, really cool. I don't think that I could really knock it. It looks like a lava mass that cooled down enough for him to stand on. The sculpt on the lava splash looks good. It looks like what I would think a thick liquid that was splashing would look like. As we get to the uniform, The aspects that are clothing are very smooth and comic book like, for sure. It's definitely bringing a comic aspect of this together. But looking at the skin areas, it comes in with a punch of detail. The crackling of the skin and muscularity that is much more detailed than most of the early comic book days for the character. So I don't know, I find myself thinking that it brings like a cool contrast, because the clothing seems so kind of subdued, which is fine, it's how it's supposed to be, and then the punch of the biological aspects of him is pretty cool, actually. His robes, they don't look like mixed media. I mean, I think maybe we've gotten a little spoiled with some of that, Prime 1 stuff that we've been seeing lately, where mixed media is not used, but it looks like mixed media. It's painted so well, or sculpted so well. I mean, I like it still. I can see muscularity. I can see a good amount of shading, but there's not a lot of texture detail, which is, I think, okay for it. I've never really stopped and worried about that. The belt, it looks like that kind of same as the base old metal feel to it. It's good. Hands are very similar to the rest of all the clothing, and the boots, it's very smooth. Muscularity is great. It really speaks to his, I don't know, godlike power, and very inhuman kind of aspects to it. As far as the portrait sculpt, it is, to me, the best part of this piece. I've taken photos of it that speak to me, that look like something out of a movie. I think it's fantastic. I love it. Definitely the best part. The eyes are even done in a way that speak to glowing, even though there's no light up effect. So that's part of paint, but I'm just saying it's a great portrait for that, kind of weird Darkseid blocky helmet thing he's got on there. But they did a lot with the face. Okay, so let's go to paint. Paint on the base, the outer rim, it looks like metal. I think it looks good. I couldn't really expect any more from an ancient old kind of a metallic-y look to it. The lava itself, it really depends on the light, because I've had lighting on it that made it really stand out and look great like lava. And then there are times when I've had too much light on it or sunlight on it, and it's just such a glaring transition, yellow, reddish, dark, so it really depends on the light. But there's a lot of skill that you can see when it comes to lighter down at the bottom looking like lava, and then an underside light like it's catching the light from the lava effect on the rock, which I think shows a lot of depth and talent, because there's a lot mixed in there. It's not just swashed on. Paint on the outfit, I think it makes it feel like kind of a comic book space rubbery kind of an outfit, which I think is what we're going for here. This is a comic book version of Darkseid. It looks great for what it is. It's simple, it's basic. I don't know if I mentioned it, the paint on the lava, I think it looks good. It's made clear, there's just shading effects, some depth on there, and I think it works really well. As we move up the skin, you would think all gray, but there's definitely some, in the cracks, there's dark colors. It's like a weathering look. It looks good. I notice on some of the cracks, they don't have the darkness. On some it's strong, on some it's light. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I don't really notice too much of a problem with it, but it is there. Maybe consistency there would be something that I would encourage. but there is shading, there's depth, there's highlights, there's different colors of grays. Okay, looking at the main body of the outfit, it's essentially the same kind of a scheme as the boots and as the hands, as the helmet. It's all very simplistic. The belt looks just like the base. It has a metallic feel to it. I do notice on the back that the mother box controls are all one color. You know, the whole belt's one essentially color of gray there, or metallic-y kind of a range. I would think it would benefit from having the buttons look like they were a different color, but that's just me. I don't know the source material that's different. I've seen a custom before that someone added that and it looked good. So paint on the face, fantastic for what it, you know, like they brought in more shading than maybe some of the other like a detail level that's a little heightened compared to anywhere else. The eyes are fantastic. I think they must have used some sort of a reflective paint there, because they, even in dark, they just really shine as something that looks menacing and full of energy. Teeth are good, but they're dark. You know, I guess really expect Darkseid to have white teeth, so that makes sense. So we've gone over concept, we've gone over sculpt, we've gone over paint, we've gone over engineering. Overall, I think this is a great piece, deserving of the pretty low level cost it is to get him. I've seen him in 400 to, you know, 600 US dollars. I got him for, I think, like 320, 350, somewhere in there, at a local pickup. So there's no shipping. So it seemed like a no-brainer for me to get it. But if you're a fan of Darkseid and you're cool with the scaling, I say go for it. Now, I always wanted to, you know, get into adding some things to the statues when it was deserving, but I saw someone do a post where they had added see, I almost dropped the hand again, where they added a Superman cape and made it look like he had just kicked Superman's ass. And I tried it myself. I decided to burn mine up a little bit, thinking, you know, because he's got the Omega beams, but I really like it. I think it looks great. I'm forever going to keep that on there as long as I have this statue. Okay, guys, let's take a quick close-up view here of Darkseid. Okay, we'll start at the base here. I do really enjoy the look of the painted metallic, kind of like dark apocalypse technology here. It is very cool. As we move up to the base, there's things I love and things I don't love, like I was talking about before. In some senses, I really enjoy the light through shading, that they made it seem like it was glowing from the bottom. But it really depends on the light, because too intense of a light and a lot of these yellows just stick out as being, you know, too glaringly painted. But in a lot of ways, even on the camera right here, you know, you can see a lot of work was put into this lava. I like it. If we look at the back here, you can see where they have the see-through lava pieces that are separate pieces that you put in here on their own. I think they look great. I think they look honestly best when there is a light behind it that can kind of reflect through. I think it looks really cool on display. The rock itself, though, I love the sculpt, a lot of detail, and you know, I can appreciate a lot of the paint work that went into this. As we move up to the costume, again, you know, very Kirby, Kirby Darkseid. The uniform looks great. It looks you know, this is a very respectful to the comic book kind of a version here. So it's all very smooth, very clean. As we get to the skin, it's got that classic Kirby cracked skin look to it. There's the classic old style Darkseid skirt. The belt looks good. It looks like metal, and I believe that's like his mother box controller in the back. The skin is pretty uniform. It's got depth. I like the detail on it. The gloves are essentially just like the boots and the rest of his clothing. You know, it's very smooth. It's very simple. It reminds me of a comic book look to it. As you can see though, like I said before, the worst magnets of any piece I have ever seen. Just even the slightest, sometimes the walk by and these will just fall, which is horrible. And this hand does it too. It's just, they just barely can keep their grip. So worst magnets for hands I have ever seen. The paint and shading on the upper torso portion I think looks great. You can get certain lights on it where that really comes out. Portrait is where I think this piece shines the most. I mean, look at that. The eyes practically, they're painted in a way that sometimes can look like they're glowing even though there's no light up effect. It's pretty amazing. I was a fan of Darkseid in the sense that I thought he was a cool character, but I probably never would have jumped at purchasing Darkseid. But the portrait, this whole piece just really made me become more of a fan of the character, which I think is a real testament to what they put together. All right, back to the regular review, guys. Oh, real quickly though, here is the calm portrait. It's cool. I mean, I like the angry one a little bit more, but sometimes, you know, because Darkseid is very calculating, that it makes sense to have a calm one like that too. And then just for fun, I created a Superman add-on cape looking like he just, you know, kicked Superman's ass and is burning his cape. And yeah, I think it's cool. Okay, back to the regular review. Looking at the new Sideshow piece that's going to be coming out, I both like it and I don't like it. I think like I like that the size looks a little bit more appropriate. I like the glow in the hand. I like the pose. I like the base that he's on, the Justice League rubble. But the only thing that strikes me, just as a personal taste, is I'm not a fan of the super wide face for the portrait. I think that Darkseid has definitely looked like that in comics, but it's not the version of Darkseid that's my favorite. This isn't even the version of Darkseid that's my favorite. My favorite's the War Darkseid from Justice League War, but the skill of this portrait came through to me, and I love it for what it is. I haven't felt that way yet with the new Sideshow one, but maybe when I see it in person. Either way, it's exciting for, you know, people to be able to get a character like Darkseid that they've maybe always wanted, and maybe weren't a fan of the Kirby version quite like this. So please, why don't you guys tell me what you think of this statue, or what you think of the new Darkseid that's going to be coming out from Sideshow. I'd love to hear from you guys. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share. You guys are awesome, and we recently hit 50 subs, so please keep it up, guys. This is awesome, and I feel honored to be a part of this. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll talk to you next time. This is Sean with Solis Review. Later.